Grand Rising, everyone. My name is Shalonda Bruton, or Shay Seeking, is what most people know me as on YouTube. And yeah, so I'll just tell you a brief something about me, just in case you're new to the platform. I'm someone who has dedicated every hour on the hour of my day on, again, unearthing things about ancient American history, again, that goes against the grain or is alternative to what we've been taught. I have, again, targeted information that I feel was not exactly the truth, right? When it comes to certain dis-ease in the nation. I have targeted things, again, not, okay, know this, not ever, right, discriminatory against transgender or any other individuals at all, okay, where I will treat someone differently, but I was against the agenda that I feel was pushed on children, right, that cannot choose, right? So I pushed the issue on things like that. Again, I have a gift to see. And so I do things what I call like reading between the headlines, right? Using etymology, which is the history of words, and biblical text to see prophetically and to see parallel, right? Or things that correlate in the biblical text, okay? Okay, so again, we're just talking today. And I have to be very careful, right? Because again, I know that there's probably some type of monitoring or something going on. Okay, so for the past couple of months, I've been going through turmoil, I feel targeted with people that are in high positions all the way to low positions. I feel like, again, spiritually, there is a war going on around the world, but I focus mainly here in the Americas. So again, when I see these prophecies, when I'm reading the text in the Bible, I can kind of see this sounds similar to this, and then I kind of break them down side by side, okay? Again, I'm never here to tell you what it is or what it isn't or ain't, but I'm just sharing with people my journey and what it looks like to me. So over the past 8 months to a year, I noticed that, again, this community that I helped bring off the ground to share the fact that we are in a form of a caste or class or caste system here in the Americas, okay, in order to free the people that are in using misnomers, right, as nationalities and race, okay. Okay, so at one point in time, everything was going just fine. Newer people showed up in the platform. You know, again, I had nothing against them. I actually shared their stuff on my platforms and things like this. And then it went to a time where I was going through, I felt like this attack on many different levels, okay? And I'm going to say I feel, right? Even in a sense when I feel like I know, right? And again, I think it was something, again, like they will call it conspiracy, right? Some type of a mental attack, some type of a spiritual attack against my family, okay? But again, at this time, I must say that I have also feel like I've been in contact with other energies or other beings here on this plane, again, or even, ancestors that have been guiding the way. And I have met some wonderful people, again, that way, okay? I feel like, again, connections were possibly severed, or even if people walked away, it was a very kind of abrupt situation where it felt like it was, again, support. But at some point in time, like I said, whether they walked away or not, I'm appreciative of anyone that has been rooting for me, even when I thought nobody was, right? Okay. So again, unfortunately, within the community, I feel like it possibly is because people are calling me some kind of, I don't know, something, because again, I classify and I speak about the things that have to do with the story to speak the story. I use the terms that are given to us to tell the story. But again, like I said, I'm fighting for truth, and the truth does not It doesn't discriminate, okay? Right? So I feel like I noticed within the community, I think people didn't like that much. So again, I feel like at some point in time, the whole community turned against me. And then I noticed that whatever this higher power, that force that was taking over, again, sending in negative energy and negative things, I feel like it started to drop to the lower level, whereas though some of these groups may have been brought in some kind of way with some kind of force or power. Now, this is just what I'm seeing here, okay? I can see the change in dynamics. I'm a very meticulous person when it's coming to pay attention to certain things. So again, movements, the whole thing with the, what we've been going through for the past couple of years, it really let me sit down and really pay attention to what was going on. So I know that there is groups, again, that are forming or that have been formed, or nations and tribes. And again, some of them are very peaceful. They may all be peaceful, but there is a movement to get land back. And that's no secret about that, right? I feel like some of these groups actually have been sent in and have been, given certain privileges and certain things when it comes to government. Well, we don't want to use that word, but people of elevated statuses, right? And I don't know how, but I sense these things and I see these things, right? So again, around the so-called insurrection of the Capitol, again, we do videos here. I spoke about the Capitol and how that represents, again, a certain vassal as well, when it comes to, again, that which is above and below, or a hierarchy, and again, those that are in the commoners, peasants, and servants, and under in the class or caste. So it's like a invisible kind of like parallel something going on here, okay? So again, probably about 9 months ago, I ended up picking up a book. It started reminding me of some things that were going on in my house that were kind of like paranormal kind of things. And then I got to that book, and, absolutely what people in my family can contest, that we were actually experiencing some of these things. So again, not only did the layout in the book describe my backyard to a T, I started to dig up information in this area. Okay, I am in the north. Okay, right? I am, my family lineage is from the Carolinas and Alabama, Georgia, all these different places. But again, we've been here, since I was born, okay? So again, I don't want to hold you up too long. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my story. So this book kind of took me through some kind of something, right? And it may be also, something that was spiritual that was happening, that allowed me to start seeing things and really focus on this story. It was kind of like God was telling me to open up that book and really go into it, right? So again, it just really opened up my mind. It took me through a lot, right? I was kind of like, for about a week or so during this time, but it grounded me. And at that point in time, I noticed, okay? And at that point in time, I noticed that, like some gifts that I may have been holding on to since a child were starting to awaken, okay, and strengthen. And I could sense things around me a little bit more and things like that. So again, I can relate to a lot of the stories of women in the biblical text to, share things discrepancies that we may not have seen. So anyhow, we'll get off of that subject there. So now recently, right, I was just drawn. I had been, kind of like in the hermit mode, kind of like focusing, just going within and seeking God, right, which I call source, okay? And certain things that I had went over already started to come back to me. And then I started to read between the headlines, and something that really triggered me the other day, and it might have been a mistake, is when the press said that there was going to be 90 million Americans deployed. And when I looked at deployed, it went into the fact that we could also be talking about military, but we can also be talking about people that are dispersed, right? Okay. So automatically, and I think he went on with the sentence and didn't correct himself until the end of the sentence. So I was like, that's kind of concerning. Okay, because I had been sensing something, and then I started to think about the 10,000, that were coming into Wisconsin, from other places. And again, during a so-called pandemic, I was thinking that would be strange. Okay. So then I ended up finding, again, I'm good at going through geographical layouts and finding strange things and doing research on them. So I started to do that in my area, and again, I started to find some very strange things. Okay. Some of the stuff I had already seen from reading the book when I was doing my research then, and some of the things didn't pop up until now. So again, we're going to read this little portion here because again, I like to bring all the stuff to you. Now, this is on myjewishlearning.com. And it says here, the Purim story as told in biblical megalith, Esther. So again, it's kind of uncomfortable for me a little bit because again, I do feel bad about again being rejected again by so many. I feel like on so many different levels there is rejection, but I do feel like there is love as well because people are not in their feelings when they're looking at my material. They are actually possibly sensing the same things, or they're there for the information and they see that I'm coming from as non-biased as possible. I'm just bringing forth information, okay, with terms that have been given to us, unfortunately, some of these terms. Okay, so I started to see some prominent things in my bloodline linked to royal lineages and things like this. And at that point in time, I noticed again that this movement was going on. And again, there was a sense of with some of these people, some animosity, but also I felt some type of connection to them through lineage, right? So again, while I'm working on these particular things, you know what I'm saying, I can only, like I said, invest so much time into other things as far as genealogy, okay? And that's just something that has to do with me, right? Everybody's different, everybody sees different, okay? So again, after again being X'd out of that community, actually seeing restrictions put on my platforms, my groups have been starting to be attacked, and hundreds of articles of just information, documents and stuff were being removed out of the page or group. And I noticed that it was after I made remarks about something, not the person itself, but someone that was talking about a land back activity and land patents and things like that. Now, I was not speaking in a negative term, okay, or a negative light, but I think people misunderstood and they just took it that way, okay? And then I started to see some correlation between the movement of the Taliban and the Kabul, right? The capital, and what it really means spiritually when it comes to certain individuals and people, right? Okay, so again, we go back into the Bible and we're going to just go ahead and read this part here. Okay, so again, and this is just very mind-blowing to me, okay? So again, like I said, I feel like officials that are very high up, right, may know about these things. And again, we're getting a perception with the images that they're showing us as to what we're talking about, what they're talking about. But in reality, there is some movement going on here. There is something spiritual. There's a spiritual war going on here, seeing it on another dimension or level, right? I started to notice the movement from the border. Okay, this has nothing to do with people in general. It's about broken borders. And it seems like it's funny that now people are getting land back and certain things are changing. It's changing whether people realize it or not on this plane. I don't know how many people have been affected or whatever. And I'm not saying that these people shouldn't be doing the movement. I'm just saying what else is going on. Okay, and then, like I said, these people coming in again now in the north and things like that. So it's a little bit concerning. And then I started to wonder about the northern border when it comes to Canada and what happened in history. What time are we replaying right now? Okay, and so again, we're going to go ahead and read this. I'll stop talking. Okay, so it says the Purim story as told in biblical megalith, Esther, offers a picture of a world turned upside down, in which a Jewish orphan, okay, so again, this orphan energy is reminding me of someone who has been cut off from their nation, hated and targeted by their nation, and also other different portions of this construct. I feel like that's what somebody wanted to make me feel, or that was what was going on. So I'm so busy here trying to hold down the fort, and as sometimes being in fear because I didn't understand what was going on with me, with the ancestors and God speaking to me and waking me up. And then I'm getting this animosity from here when I put so much time in, it just was a thing. Okay. So it kind of reminded me of my situation. And again, I already know that I connect with this energy here when it comes to Sheba and all of these women. Okay. Okay. It says becomes a Persian queen. The architect of a plan to kill the Jews dies at the hands of his primary target. Okay. Right. and an assimilated diaspora community institutes a new holiday for Jews everywhere. Approximately, the annual celebration of the upside downness involves donning customs, which allow us to be someone else for a day. And this kind of reminds me automatically of the Purge. I don't know. Okay. The suspension of certain laws. Okay. So again, this is what we talk about. We noticed that there was a fall, right? But then again, if we're not paying attention to how it's being put back together, we can find ourselves in a terrible situation. Because I see these timelines and I see the story repeating. And we're getting the perception, or right under our noses, we're feeling like something change is going on. But is it the change that we really want? Are we really paying attention? Are we in fear? Are we preoccupied with other things where we're not paying attention? Is there some kind of warfare going on here? What's the reality? Okay. Again, allows us to be someone else for a day. So again, this whole energy of a copycat energy, even a energy of someone, I had like my car broken into and documents taken out of it. So again, at this point, I'm like, okay, these people are pretty close, right? I've had barking or something going on in my backyard, a strange noise, and that person was just doing it in the middle of the night when I'm sitting out in my sunroom. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain energy like that, like I said, that I have been paying attention to, and I can feel like a sense of being targeted, right? Whether it's verbal or just the energy. It's just something about it, okay? So again, that made me think about the whole thing, person for a day, because again, during other interacting with other readers and seers and oracles, I started to get a little glimpse at people trying to say that, there might be something with documents or something. Someone has taken something from you, right? Okay. So again, we're just going through the motions, okay? So it made me think about certain things like a ID being missing and documents out of my cars, and it's just things like this make people in certain portions of the group speaking about making fun or about taking land and kicking people off that look a certain way, okay? All right. And so it says the suspension of certain laws, parodies of everyone and everything, and much drinking and eating and merriment. So again, I can sense that festivals or something have been going on. I don't know amongst which groups, okay? And it says at the same time as it invites lighthearted fun, the perennium story contains within it a dark side in which the oppressed seem to become oppressors. Now again, everybody knows about this movement. There's no secret. 1 second. Please don't say anything because hold on. Okay, so since the prophecy had something to do with Esther, it really automatically drew my attention. It already made me think about the 90 million. I don't know if it was 90 million or 90,000, actually, right? Okay. I'm going to be looked at, as a sellout, but at the same time, if this is a direct target, you know what I'm saying? And again, I've been isolated and kicked out of my group. People in higher positions act like it's funny when they're on the news talking about this. And I mean, if that's worrisome because these are supposed to be our leaders. But I try not to look at people for who they are, what they look like, what they might do or be or call themselves, and look at the energy or the spirit of people, okay? So certain remarks were made that made me be triggered that, no, this is something that's going on from the top and it's trickling down into the community. They're having free reign to make moves. There's been an energy of leave your house, leave everything, or, do this or that. You know what I'm saying? It's just been something, like I said, trying to move away. So again, spiritually, like I said, source I tapped into said, you don't go nowhere. You belong right there. Okay. So we're looking at this in a different light now. Okay. So Esther ends with the Jews carrying out a bloody battle in which more than 75,000 people lost their lives, okay? Now, again, this may, when we're talking about lives, because I do etymology, lives, and I do different research on dictionaries and stuff like that. So, again, lives can also be, again, something that we're talking about when it comes to legalities. It could be something, again, for you being cut off from your lineage or some kind of something entitled or some kind of inheritance or trust or anything like this, right? So I feel like that the whole thing has been very calculated for a few to really be professional and again move in a certain way. Okay, and again, it's nobody's fault. You know, if you don't know about it, you don't know about it, right? But even reaching out again, at some point in time, I noticed that no one wanted to deal with me. So I'm just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I don't know. You know, like I said, then I'll just have to do it my way. And that's when I think that God started to step in and show me something. Okay. Okay. Lose their lives, but this can also be in another way. And that's the thing that makes me very concerned. It says, and in which fear of death prompts countless others to feign Jewishness. Okay? It is easy to regard the ending of Esther only as an exaggerated parody not meant to be taken at face value. Okay? So again, and this is what I'm saying, like when I say, oh, are we being punked? What is this? You know what I'm saying? What's going on, right? Okay. Oh, this is so funny. When was this written? 2000, let's see. When was this article written? I don't know. I like details. Okay, I don't know. We're not going to see. Okay. Okay. However, this dismissal negates the extent to which this story has sometimes been understood as justification of violence against other enemies or supposed enemies of Jews. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to skip through a little bit. It says the ending of the Purim story can certainly be read as legitimate battle of self-defense. And that's all I'm saying. Because that's something that we should be concerned about. Okay. In which Jews killed those who are instructed to destroy them. Indeed, this is the way that most traditional Bible commentators have understood the episode. Okay. The understanding eases concern about the nature of violence, but does not fully respond either to the bloodiness of the battle, to the textual ambiguity, okay, and the identity of the victims, okay. Now I want to just get to it here. Let's see. Okay, let's see what else we can take from here. Hold on. Okay, so again, historic enemy. Okay, it says the Jews read Parshat Zakar, the story of the defeat of Amalek, an early enemy of the Jews and the nation. Okay, that produced Haman. Okay, the villain of the Purim story. This reading concludes with a command to wipe out Amalek in every generation. Okay, the juxtaposition of the reading of Parshat, okay, with the reading of Megillah, transformed the Purim story from one-time event to a paradigm for using violence to respond to an opponent. Okay. So again, like I said, some of this is making me think, like I keep seeing this peace energy, right? So again, if there is something going on, definitely I'm saying peace, right? But I'm saying again, when someone, when again we're looking at it at this level, you know, like I said, it's just like I said, and maybe this is why they didn't really like Esther anyway, right? Because she was going to do something totally different, and she felt like, you know, I look at Esther and these energies in the biblical text of mother of all, right? Okay, no matter how people get in their feelings about it, right? What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. But if we're again trying to, even if it is trying to just send a direct message to those who read between the headlines to cause some kind of hysteria, it's not funny to me, right? To make you regret the fact that you don't do it the way of the law, that you're dealing with actual energy or God, okay? And believing and having that faith, right? Okay. So it says any violence against the people have justified. Okay, so Palestinians and Amalek and as such have justified any violence against this people. It is no coincidence that Baruch, okay, a fanatical Jewish settler in the West Bank chose Purim Day to carry out this massacre in 1994. Okay. would equate it by those of certain political viewpoints to the contemporary Jews' experience. The story becomes enticement to violence and not simply a satire about a distant time and place. The seriousness with which some have understood the Megillah, apparent sanction of a mass murder, demands that those of us bothered by endings of story offer an equally serious ethical response, okay? So I think this is the last part here. A few details within the the challenge, the traditional understanding of the battle as one's self-defense. First, the sheer number of deaths is shocking. Surely simple self-defense would not require the killing of such large number of people. So again, this is what I'm saying. So I'm not trying to in any way promote fear. You know what I'm saying? Even if there was some kind of lockdown or something that was going to occur, people should definitely, and again, I need to take heed and restock mine, right? So pantries and things like that. But maybe even seeing if something might occur where we might need water, things like this that I feel like is one of those times. Like I've been talking about it for the past 2 years on and off. I think people are tired of it because they don't see anything happening, but anything can happen at any time, okay? So again, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying go, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I don't want anybody to take anything like that, like I'm saying, but I'm just saying, be aware, be very vigilant. That's the only thing I'm saying right here. Okay. Be vigilant. And also, again, if you're spiritual, tap into that energy as well, because the ancestors are here. Okay. Popular attitude, indeed, the extent of which Jews appear to be assimilated into Persian society suggests quite the opposite. Even Haman's hatred for the Jewish people is presented as an extension of his anger at Mordecai, okay, who refuses to bow down to him, and not as abstract anti-Semitism of other citizens of the Shushan. So again, researching this group in the biblical text and looking at the Shushan or Shoshone, okay, and even the Sioux Indians, I found correlations again in the biblical text of these groups, plan to participate in the slaying of the Jews. Okay, they will presumably do so out of the obedience of the king's orders. And not primarily as the result. So that brought me back to the, not to say it's the same thing, but it brought me back to the prophecy that I shared on the channel the other day. If other citizens in the Shushan plan to participate in the slaying of Jews, they will presumably do so out of obedience to their king. Okay, so again, according to some commentators, attempt to lessen the scale of the massacre or to restrict it to those actively involved in Haman's plot, addressing the verse. And the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of a sword, okay, and with the slaughter of destruction, and did as they wished to those who hated them, okay. So it also reminds me of, again, when it comes to Sheba, that I think the queen of the south was going to come and sit at the feet, right? Okay. Distinguishes between the enemies whom the Jews had permission to kill and the haters to whom the Jews only did as they wished. Okay. Of course, the Jews were not given permission to kill anyone they wished, for it was only written in the books that they could take revenge on their oppressors. So again, that reminds me of a portion of the biblical text that says that something's going to happen. I think it's in Isaiah, but that certain people should not have to worry. Okay. Again, if you're well versed in the biblical text, you'll be able to see. Okay. With this distinction, Malbim reduces the scope of the massacre to those who actively plotted against the Jews, and not to those who simply harbored a passive dislike of the people. Okay. Enemies, haters, saying that an enemy is one who wants to do evil himself, whereas a hate is a bystander, one who is happy when evil is done, but who doesn't personally do anything. Okay, so again, like this is also like on another end, and it says in Elijah ben Solomon. Okay, so again, the fact that Elijah and Esther again are in this book that we're doing is this prophecy is just something that's baffling to me. All right. Okay, so again, you guys can continue to read this if you want. I'm going to go ahead and make reference to, so we don't have you here all day, to Bible, some context in the Bible, which I feel correlates with this type of act. Okay, if not initiators of the widespread violence of the world. So this is also that says people were observing. So this also reminds me of other nations, again, that are speaking now about how they're getting their people out of so-called, Afghan areas and things like that. Okay. And how it seems like the U.S. corporation is not doing such. Okay. So again, we're just speaking here. Writing about the backdrop of the Holocaust suggests that this type of revenge may be specifically to the Purim story and should not be expected or desired in other moments in history. Okay? So Hanukkah. Okay? Again, I feel like this is an indigenous name here. Okay? The villains are not killed en masse, as God does only what is necessary to free the Jews and restore the temple. So again, the temple, I feel like, is representing, again, in this case, possibly me, and again, so since God is involved here, it may be even just, saying, okay, well, look at my child. I had her do this. I sent, Sekhmet to do her work, right? Spiritually, right? And then now look at this. Now nobody wants to, you know what I'm saying? And so let me try to go ahead and make this right, okay? Possibly, and teach her what I'm trying to show her about building, right? Or even just getting involved in a sense, right? Okay. So again, I'm clearly purely honest on this channel. I'm not trying to rally anything or anything. This is just, like I said, this is my channel. You know what I'm saying? I can't help who may be paying attention. If you sense something, you sense something. If you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? So again, there's no need to rouse anything. I'm just telling people, especially in the North right now, to just be vigilant. That's all. Okay. Okay, it is necessary means of ensuring the security of the Jews. So I think that this is probably what's going to actually end up happening. But I feel like if I would have stayed silent, nothing was happening, then again, none of this would have happened. So again, maybe it will just lead to some form of assistance in nation building and some kind of unity, some kind of peace, some kind of something, right, in a certain portion of this land. Okay. Again, like I said, for some reason, it just makes me want to think about, needing my, okay, we'll talk about how it says, bring all my sons and daughters from around, okay, so we'll look at that, okay. Amalek as the grave evil that leads to dissatisfaction with one's lot. Okay, see, now, and this is the story to a T, actually. Okay. Okay. Without making them any bloody, Amalek at least reduced the Purim story to one-time occurrence. And refuses to allow to become a model for future revenge. Okay, so again, this is kind of like what it is. So I'll let you guys finish reading it if you want. For me, none of these attempts to lessen or justify the death of more than 75,000 people fully respond to the question well known to us from the human history. Of how an oppressed people can go on to oppress other people. Okay, so again, I do think that that's the balancing scale, and that is the lesson, right? If we don't deal with ourselves, if we don't get right within, it will lead to, again, turmoil again. And do we really want, this is a reset. This is a rebuild of the nation of the world right now, okay? So again, do we really want that? Are we really going to stand here for any forms of oppression? Are we going to move forward with this same ideology? Or have we grown, right, from that? And that's just the thing that I'm saying. I don't have to hate anybody to be me, to be my best me, right? And I'm just somebody that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, right? I'm also somebody that keeps to myself, right? So this could be a lesson also to get me out, to show me, to help me take a role of leadership, because I do think that there is a kingdom being set up, people chosen by God to do certain things, within this construct in order to change things for real this time. Okay, so that's what I think that we're talking about when it comes to any of this prophetic energy that we're reading here. Okay. In the end, perhaps we might respond to the massacre in accordance with Esther, the major collection of Midrash, of the book of Esther. Again, that would be a good book. Again, if you read the biblical text, even if you're not religious, it's just a story. It's a history book, period. Okay. Especially the Old Testament is of the old world. The New Testament is the new world. Okay. So again, it said, who allows the murderer to kill their murderers and crucify their crucifiers. So again, this may be where it says that somebody is going to stand up and allow people to cut people off of their land to find out it's your land actually, and actually you have to go. You see, this may be that, right? And it could work out in any old kind of ways. I'm not trying to act any kind of way or anything about this. I'm just reading what I see. I'm just reading through and sharing what I see here. Okay? So those oppressed will be oppressed. The first shall be the last. These particular things like this, right? So again, if anything, is a spiritual thing that we're talking about here. I'm just saying be vigilant. That's it. Okay? The collection begins in appreciation of the awe of God, okay, who allows, the murdered to kill the murderers and the crucified to crucify. So again, when I deal with hateful energy, that's all I say is change their heart and make them actually, care. Almost like how God said, in this likeness, where they can feel. Do you really want this? Do anybody really want any kind of war, whether it's spiritual, physical, whatever it is, right? Everybody should have a seat at a table when something is going on, especially when it has to do with families and movement, okay, or displacing people. Okay, and that's why, like I said, people don't like me saying certain things, right? But I mean, it's just the fact, right? Okay. The last midrash, this collection begins with the appreciation and awe of God. Okay. Yeah. And the drowned their drowners. Okay. So again, those who've been crucified, have them crucified. So again, or I'll say something like, change the heart of these particular people, or even just, just send that, if it's too much coming from one direction, send it back to them. I don't want it, The latter being a reference to the crossing of the Red Sea. Again, right? So again, we're talking redskins, I feel, when we're talking about the sea. I think we're talking about also a feminine energy, or again, like you may look at it as the Red Sea, but I cross-examine everything in this text. And then goes on to declare God's abundance of mercy, loving kindness, justice, and goodness. The midrash closes with the extent ode to peace. All right, perhaps intended as a suitable critique of the bloodshed which Megillat Esther itself concludes. Okay, so again, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to go ahead and give you the scriptures real quick. Also, I'm going to go ahead and give you the name of this clip right here that made me really start to pay attention to this line of this border when it comes to the north and where it used to be, and how people live on one side. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it was interesting, and it's called why 50% of Canadians live south of this line, and it's on YouTube. Okay, so again, you can look that up if you want. Just looking at these different things and visuals give me different, all right. Okay, definitely Wisconsin, right? I'm just thinking because again, we just received all of those people. Okay, and the prophecy is in Wisconsin, in the southern point of Wisconsin, where some of the Black Hawk Wars and things went down. Okay, and the woman's name was Esther, and the man's name was Elijah. Okay, now this is what the Lord says. He who created, okay, and again, he on this channel, since we cross-reference everything, when we look at, and then somebody also introduced another way of looking at it as he can mean it or that, and it can also mean she, okay? Him can mean she as well, okay? So again, who created you, O Jacob, and he who formed you, O Israel, okay? Do not fear, for I will redeem you. I have called you by my name, and you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you go through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched. The flames will not set you ablaze. For I am the Lord, your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I give Egypt for your ransom, Cush and Seba for your place, because you are precious and honored in my sight, and because I love you. I will give men in exchange for you, and nations in place of your life. Okay, do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bring your offspring from the east and gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and I will say to the south, do not hold them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the from the ends of the earth. Everyone called by my name and created for my glory, whom I have indeed formed and made. Okay, so it's funny how again today we broke down that energy when we were looking at the geographical layout of those faces that are in the ground here. I believe in Wisconsin, right? Okay, and other places as well. Okay, we found them all over the place. Okay, everyone called by my name, created my glory. Okay, it says bring out a people who have eyes but are blind, and who have ears but are deaf. All the nations gather together, and all the people assemble. Who among them can declare this and proclaim to us the former things? Let them present their witness to vindicate them, so that others may hear and say, it is true. You are my witness, declares the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, so that you may consider and believe me, and understand that I am he. Now, again, this does bring me back. This does bring me to again, male energy. Like I said, that I feel like is a twin flame connection. Okay. This makes me think about him. So I do think we're talking about a male energy in that time, but I also see it as well as a feminine energy, as far as even in a mythological storyline of a woman that was with a lover, but I guess something didn't work out, and then there was some kind of jealousy or something, and so she ended up going for another guy, and then again she rode back into town with him on the back of the horse and said, oh no, he coming back in. Bring him back. You see what I'm saying? So again, like I said, that's how I feel, again, if that's what it is that that person wants to be. Okay. Why is my heart beating so hard right now? You are my witness, declares the Lord, and my servant who I have chosen. Okay. So again, now we talk about the Lord. Okay. So that you may consider and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me, no God was formed. This also brings me to, again, a chief that, like I said, I admire his wisdom. Before me, no God was formed, and after me, none will come. I, yes, am the Lord. Okay, so again, this is the Lord. This is not God, but the Lord, right? And it says, and there is no Savior but me. I alone decree and saved the proclamation. I am not some foreign God among you. Okay, we read this already. So you are my witness. Declare. So again, the fact that we just read in this, right, that God had us look at this, or Source had us look at this just within the past couple of days, and we're back here again. So you are my witness, declares the Lord, that I am God. Okay. But again, in this sense, like I said, I have to read things very carefully. So again, this almost sounds like somebody saying, so you're my witness, declares the Lord, that I am God. So so the Lord is saying this, but saying that I am God. Okay. Even from eternity, I am he or she, and none can deliver out of my hands. When I act, who can reserve it or reverse it? Okay. All right. So that's it. All right. So again, you guys can continue reading if you want. I don't want to keep you here too long. I always got to keep reading. Away in the wilderness. Let's just finish it, y'all. Okay. So you could have been gone. You can leave whenever you want. Okay. Thus says the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. For your sake, I will send to Babylon and bring them all as fugitives, even the Chaldeans and the ships in which they rejoice. Okay. Okay. So this does remind me of that prophecy. Okay. With Chief Oren. Okay. Okay. I am the Lord, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel and your King. Okay. Thus saith the Lord, who makes a way in the sea. Okay. And a path through the surging waters. Who brings out the chariots and horses. Who brings out the chariots and horses. The armies and the warriors together. To lie down, never to rise again. To be extinguished, snuffed out like a wick. Okay. Do not call to mind the former things. Pay no attention to the things of old. So again, in that way, I'm hard-headed. right? So I don't think that it's going to operate or happen that way again. But I do feel like, and and it may even seem like a rites of passage at some point. Okay. All right. The beast of the field will honor me, the jackals and the ostriches, because I provide water in the wilderness and rivers in the desert to give drink to my chosen people. The people I form myself will declare my praise. Okay. But you have not called on me, O Jacob, because you have grown weary of me, O Israel. You have not brought me sheep for burnt offerings, nor honored me with sacrifices. I have not burdened you with offerings, nor wearied you with frankincense. You have not brought me sweet cane or with silver, nor satisfied me with the fat of your sacrifices. But you have burdened me with your sins. You have wearied me with your iniquities. Now this sounds like a feminine energy, actually, that may be speaking to a suitor or a consort or something of that nature, right? I will just say that again, spiritually, I feel like it comes to a divine masculine and feminine union to me, okay? Yes, I am he who blots out transgressions for my own sake and remembers your sins no more. Remind me, let us argue the matter together. State your case so that you may be vindicated. Your first father sinned, and your spokesman rebelled against me. So I disgrace the prince of your sanctuary, and I will devote Jacob to destruction and Israel to reproach. Okay, so again, that's it. Is the footnotes talk about that is the Upper Nile region. I do feel like we're talking about these rivers we're talking about here in the Americas. That is the Babylonians or serpents or dragons, literally the daughters of ostriches or the daughters of owls. Okay, forms the Hebrew, okay, giving over the things in a person to the Lord, either by destroying them or by giving them as an offering. So again, this does sound like I said, where we're dealing with a jealous God at this point, and is basically saying that, hey, I'm going to give your stuff to somebody else for whatever reason. Okay. And I think that until you come back to me, that song came on in my head. So again, I don't know how I'm processing that right now. Okay. So again, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I hope this didn't take too long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I try to keep the videos under an hour now. Sometimes they go over. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. But again, I'm feeling some kind of way. Like I said, this may just be a lesson from source. Again, teaching us how to operate and how to become do a new thing here on this plane right now. Okay. This may just be what this is. But like I said, I just, it's prophecy, so we're speaking it. That's what I do here, okay? And it's funny how, again, without all of that, the news is the thing that opened up my eye to this information and allowed me to start doing this particular type of research, even dealing with, I said, the ancestors and guides and angels, and again, my soul tribe, right? Okay. My companion, right? Okay. It's even just been a struggle even with that. So yeah. So again, I'll see you guys soon. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Like I said, I think there's no need to be in fear, no need to be alarmed. This may just be a lesson from source to see how we're going to be operating in this new way that we're doing things, and it just may be a lesson of like peace, not war. You know what I'm saying? Operating in a way, it may even been source waking me up to the fact that some of this stuff is actually going on and you need to be paying attention. I want you to do this, right? I want you to learn how to build. I want you to learn how to, right? Because I feel like this is my kingdom. I feel like if we're talking king of the north, then I am he, I am she, right? In my masculine energy, right? If we're talking about the queen, I don't know. I feel like, again, there is supposed to be a king here. And again, we'll see. We'll see how it goes when it comes to that. So, again, I feel like it's also, yeah. We could go back to, again, ancient story of the queen of heaven and earth, okay? Of the north and the south, right? Like a peacemaker, like Mother Earth in general, across the whole plane, speaking this words of peace to all of her children that have been, again, worried that she may be bringing some kind of destruction, right? Like Kali, right? Or Khalifa or California, right? So again, and the miscommunication, right? Okay. Or the rites of passage to even see if you are even capable to rule a nation. and how you're going to operate. So again, everything that happens to me, whether it feels bad or good, I take it as a so-called blessing, right? And I take it as something that is a lesson to learn, okay? And again, some of us have been chosen for these positions to learn how to deal with people, to build, and things like this, okay? So again, but we do know that what we're being told is there's 10,000 people being brought in here. I haven't seen them myself. I don't know. This may be something that we're just perceived. We might be all getting punked here right now. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see it on the 7 o'clock news that this is what we've come to. This person is ready, to enter into the kingdom, anything, right? So again, I appreciate you guys, every single one of you. And again, I see the love again pouring in. I can sense the love pouring in, and it's very much appreciated because again, throughout this, I always wanted to give up, but I could never remove this smile off of my face, right? Okay. It was just like, what? What do you want? But again, like I said, at the end of the day, this lesson, if this is what this is, taught me a lot. And if it's something more than that, it's going to teach even more. So again, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.